Hi all, welcome to Geneso IT Trainings. My name is Sagar. In this video, we'll be looking at Linux file permissions introduction. There might be a couple of videos that we have to work on with Linux file permissions. Before we start into this video, I would request everybody to subscribe my channel. Thank you. So this video is just an introduction about Linux file permissions, and if you're completely a beginner, this would be a very useful video for you. So let's start with Linux file permissions. Whenever we take any specific files inside the server, we have to ensure that these files need to be provided with set of permissions. So we need to understand what type of permissions we can give it. That's first thing, what type of permissions we can give it to the Linux files or the directories. And the second one is we need to really understand who can access them. So who is the user who will be able to access these Linux files or the directories? These are the two important things we have to take care of. So one of the important things we have to take care here, we have the ownership of Linux files. So what is this ownership of Linux files? We have a set of files inside the Linux server, and who can access these files is called ownership of the Linux files. And when it comes to the ownership of Linux files, so we have three categories here. One is a user can access it, or a owner can access it. User or owner or any group can access these files or directories, or other users can access these files or directories. And apart from that, the second most important thing we all need to remember is the permissions, and what type of permissions we can set to a file or a directory. So all these things, let me make you understand by opening a Paint and make it much more clear here for you. So let us look into this. Let us try to understand. We have a Linux server. Let's assume that this is our Linux server. So let me write it here. This is our Linux server. So inside this server, you have to understand every Linux server will not be accessed by only a single user. There might be multiple users who will be accessing this particular Linux server. Let us assume that we have specific set of users here. So one of the users is user 1, and let me type user 2, user 3, user 4, and user 5. So there might be multiple users, actually multiple users inside a Linux server. So in the AWS EC2 instance, whichever Linux server that we are trying to work upon, some of the users that we have is root is the administrator user, root, and we do have Ubuntu as one of the user, and we have kind of created Geneso as one of the users we created, and Sagar is another user we created. But when it comes to real time, suppose imagine if there is one particular server, there may be multiple users who will be trying to log in into this server. In order to make it much more clear, let me show this Windows. In Windows, I have logged in as a David Vidyasagar, which is my name. I have logged in as this particular user. What if someone else would like to access my laptop? I would definitely not give my username. Instead of that, what I'll do is I'll create a new username or a guest user so that others will be able to access my laptop. And one of the most important thing, in my laptop, I do have some files and directories, and I do not want other users to be able to access them. So I'm trying to set some permissions to them. In the same way, whenever we have a Linux server, inside this Linux server, we have multiple users, probably something like user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, user 5, and root is the administrator who can access everything and anything. He can perform any activity, and we have Ubuntu user, Geneso user, and Sagar user. So this is how this is just we are trying to understand, okay, a specific Linux server can be used by multiple users. And one of the most important thing here, is inside this Linux, we do have a specific set of files. We will be having set of files like file 1 and file 2, or it could be anything, file 2, file 3, file 4, and file 5. So these are some of the files, and let's say these are some of the directories, dir1, directory 1, and directory 2, and directory 3. So these are some of the files and directories we have inside this Linux server. So what we are trying to understand in this video about the Linux file permissions, we are trying to understand who can access these files now. which user can access these files, and second, which user can access these directories. That is what we are trying to understand. This is the first important thing. So who can access it? It means who can be as an owner of these files, or who can actually work on these files. And the second one is nothing but permissions. What type of permissions are being set to these files. That is very, very important. So let us try to understand. Whoever creates these files, they become the owner of this file. Whichever user is trying to create a file, they will become the owner of these files. And second, what we can do is we can add a specific group who can access these files as well. Let us assume that what I'll do is let us assume that these files are created by this user one, call as by this user one. And what happens is this user one will become, let's assume that this file one is created by user one, and now you need to understand this user one becomes the owner of this file one. Whoever creates a file, so with the help of a touch command, whoever creates this file, and they are going to become the owner of this particular file. And what if I would like to make a specific group? Suppose I want even these users to access this file. We want this user 2, user 3 and user 4 to access this file. Rather than giving permissions individually from user 2 to file 1 and user 3 to file 1, user 4 to individually, rather than giving each user permissions to this file 1, what we will do is we'll try to group them into all these users. We'll try to group them, and let me say, let's assume that this is like one group 1. And what we will do is we will give permissions to this particular group. We'll be giving to this group permissions to access this file 1. So what we are trying to do is, and what you need to understand, okay, whoever creates this file, he or she is going to become the owner of this particular file. And how about if we would like to give permissions to set of users, what we will be doing is we'll be creating a group for this users. So if you really looked into my Linux group administration, you'll understand how to add specific users into a group. So if not, please go and watch the video, and the name of the video is Linux Group Administration. I have it already uploaded in the YouTube channel. You can view it. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to add these users into this group, and this group is going to be given permission to access this particular file. And see, here we have user 1 who is the owner of this file. User 2 and user 3 and user 4 belong to a group 1, so they can access this file. And we do have some of the users again here. So these are all users who are left out now, and these users are called as other users for this particular file 1. We can call them as other users for this particular file 1. Now understand this. That's what we have it in the slide. If I open my slide, if you observe carefully, a ownership for a Linux files can be provided by a user or a owner, or we can give a group of users. A group of users can access the file, or other users also can access this file. So this type of naming convention is very important. You need to understand, okay, for a Linux files or a directories, what we can do is either a user or a owner can take a ownership of the file, or a group can take a ownership of the file, or others can take a ownership of the file. So that is what here you should be able to understand by this particular explanation. We have for this particular file 1, the owner is user 1, and for this particular file 1, we have a set of users who are grouped into a group called as group 1, and these group 1 will have a set of file permissions where this group 1 can access this file 1. And all rest of the users inside the Linux server are called as other users. Why you need to understand this owner and group and other users, you'll be understanding it little later. So let us look into this again. Permissions, and what type of permissions we can set to a particular file or a directory. There are 3 types of permissions that we can set. One is read permission, which is denoted by R, small r. And one is write permissions, which is denoted by small w, and we do have one more permission called as execute, which is denoted by X. So these are the permissions we can set to any particular file. See, look at this. What we are trying to do is we are trying to set file permissions. Now, file permissions, and these file permissions would be something like read, and which is denoted by small r, and write, which is denoted by small w, and we do have execute permissions, which is denoted by small x. Yeah. So this is how you'll be giving a specific permissions to a specific file. So whenever you see a read permission is nothing but suppose, imagine I'm trying to open a specific file. So let's look into this PPT itself. I have just opened this PPT, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to read this file now. I'm trying to read here, okay, ownership of the Linux files, user, group, other. What I'm trying to do is I'm able to view this file, or I'm able to read this file. That is called as a read permissions. So what we are trying to do is able to view the file. View this file is called as a read permission. What if I'm trying to edit this particular file? I'm trying to make some changes inside the file. I'm trying to edit it. Suppose I'm trying to insert some line into this file. That is called as a write permission. So the write permission is nothing but we are able to edit the file. And what we have is we have the execute permissions. And these execute permissions are nothing but, which is going to execute a specific file or a directory. And we need to understand, in a Linux server, every directory, or even in Windows also, every directory must have execute permissions. If we do not have execute permissions for the directories, we will not be able to open these directories or the folders as well. So we have to ensure that all the directories or folders, all the directories or folders do have execute permissions, and we can even have execute permissions for specific files as well. So what we are trying to do is, if we try to execute certain files, we can execute certain files. So it could be a scripts, or it could be a specific commands inside the file, and we are trying to execute that particular file. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to set execute permissions for this file also. By default, we should have execute permissions for a directory in order to open a folder or a directory inside the Linux server. So every directory usually will have execute permissions. Now what is that we understood till now? We have understood whenever we take files or directories, and these files or directories needs to have a specific set of permissions. And whenever we are talking about the permissions, we need to talk about two important things. One of the important thing we need to talk about is who can access these files. Who can access it? Either an owner can access it, or a group can access it, or other users can access it. I hope you are very clear what is the difference between owner and group and other users. So these can access these files. The second important factor we need to understand whenever we are talking about Linux file permissions is what type of permissions we are going to set to this particular files and directories. And we will be setting three types of permissions. One is read permission, which is nothing but we will be able to view the file. And the second one is write permission, so which is nothing but we'll be able to edit the file. And third one is execute permission, which we will be able to execute the files or the directories. So usually whenever we write a script, we have shell scripting, which I'll be teaching you, and shell scripting as well in my further videos. So these shell scripts need to have execute permissions in order to execute that particular file. And along with that, each and every directory or folder must have execute permissions to open these directories or folders. So these are the two things that very, very important you need to understand. So one is ownership of the Linux files and permission. Now we will try to understand by opening a Linux server, and we will try to see and where are these permissions available. How can you view these file permissions at least? And who is actually the owner of this particular file, and to which group this file belongs to. So all these things, it's time for us to view into it by opening the Linux server. And in my next video, I'll be teaching you how to change these permissions. So how can I change this user must have only read permissions, and I don't want this owner to have write permissions or execute permissions, or Other users should not have execute and write permissions. Only they should be able to have only the read permissions. Probably the owner can have all read and write execute permissions. How can we change it actually? How can we modify these permissions? I'll be explaining them in my next video. In this video, we'll try to understand the intro of the Linux file permissions, introduction of it, and we are trying to understand where can we view these file permissions the moment we open the Linux server, and how can we understand who is the owner of the Linux file, owner of this particular file, and to which group this file belongs to. So that we'll try to understand it by opening my Linux server. And this is my Linux server. Here we look into practically and understand who is the owner and who is the group, and what will be the other users and what type of permissions we have set it up. So let's look at ls here. The moment I look at ls, I do have some files and directories available. Here you should be able to differentiate with the color here. So this blue color ones are directories, directory 1 and directory 1000, and rest everything is a files here, a regular files. So rather than using simple ls command, which is used to list the files or directories, what we will do is we will be listing a long listing of these files and directories. So ls-l, and which is going to display the long listing of all these files and directories. Now, if you understand here, if you look at this carefully, we do have we have long listed all these files and directories, the same directories which are being long listed. One thing you need to understand, let me take the snippet of it and open it in the Paint. So what I'll do is I'll take the snippet here. Okay, let me copy it and okay, it's okay. I'll open the Paint, I'll paste it here. See, now let's try to understand what exactly here we are trying to do. Okay, see, look at this one. So the moment we typed ls-l, we were able to get a long listing of all the files and directories. And what is this exactly? And what is that we are trying to understand here? So now, as I said about the Linux file permissions, I was talking about read, write and execute. So which is nothing but read, this is nothing but write, and this is going to be execute. So this you need to understand. By looking at read, write and execute, RWX, by looking at this itself, you should be getting some idea. Okay, we have something like RWX, and here we have R -X and R-X. So it means that these are nothing but which are trying to belong to read, write and execute file permissions. See, observe this. This is a directory. How can you identify whether this is a directory or not? The moment you see at the beginning of it, which is written as D, and this D stands for directory. This D stands for directory. Let me put the size of it a little less. Okay, this stands for the directory. So this is nothing but a directory. This D stands for directory here, and rest everything are nothing but file permissions, which are read, write, execute, and read -X and read -X. And the moment you see here this hyphen here, look at this hyphen. This represents, this is nothing but a normal, which is nothing but a normal file or regular file. A normal or a regular file, it is going to make us understand. So what we will do is we'll try to understand what these read, write, execute permissions are here, and we'll try to understand the entire line. See, let me take one particular line and I'll make you understand. And here you should be able to understand what is a directory and what is a file. The moment it starts with D, it is nothing but a directory. Let me increase this. Okay, this is nothing but a directory, and this is going to be a normal file. And let me take one line, I'll try to make you understand. So before I explain this set of things, let me explain this is nothing but a hard link. Actually, we call it as a hard link of this file. So it's not really important at this moment to understand what is a hard link. So which I'll explain it in my further videos, what exactly a hard link and soft link is all about. And here you should be able to see the root. So the root represents, this one is nothing but who is the owner of this file. Who is the owner of this file? The owner of this file is root. Here, look at this. The owner of this file is Ubuntu. So this is going to represent the owner. We are trying to say who is the owner of this file, and this is going to represent to which group this file belongs to. This file belongs to a group called as Ubuntu, and you all are very sure with my Linux user administration and group administration, you should be able to understand what is a group now. So here Linux 200, this file belongs to a group called as Ubuntu, and who is the owner of this file 200? Ubuntu is the owner. Here file1.txt belongs to which group? Root group. So this is going to be the group. This is going to be group. And what is the 0 here? So this 0 stands for what is the size of this file? The 0 stands for what is the size of this file? Let me write it here. What is the size of this file? And this is the time it has got created on May 6th, and so specific time this file was created. And this is going to be your file name. This is going to be your file name. So you should be able to understand by this time what is this long listing is all about. So the moment you take, these are the file permissions that we have it, which I did not still explain, and this is nothing but a hard link. This is the owner of the file or a directory. This is the group that this file or a directory belongs to. This is the size of this directory or a file, and this is the date and time of the creation of the directory or a file, and this is going to be the name and name of the file or a directory that we created it here. What I'll do is I'll open a new sheet again. I'll open a new one. So let us look into this once again. So let us try to understand what exactly these file permissions here all about. See, the moment you see here, the first one stands for a directory. And this hyphen stands for a regular user. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ignore this first one, and let us start from here. So look at this. The first 3 characters here. The first 3 characters belong to the owner or a user. Owner or user. And the second 3 characters, they belong to a group. They belong to a group. And the last 3 characters, they belong to other users. Other users. So you need to understand what this file owner, what permissions this file owner has got. So in order to understand what file permissions this owner has got, the first 3 characters here, excluding this hyphen, the first 3 characters will represent this file owner. Who is the file owner? Root is the file owner, has 2 permissions. One is read permissions and write permissions. Let me draw it here. Or let me draw it here. Hyphen, the first one hyphen, I am writing it here. I am trying to ignore this hyphen, and RW hyphen. So this is the first 3 characters I am drawing. So the first 3 characters, they belong to owner of the file. And you all know it very well. Who is the owner of this text2.doc? The root is going to be the owner now. The root is going to be the owner. And this owner has got what permissions actually? See, look at this. The owner has got read permissions and write permissions, but no execute permissions. It's not there. Execute permissions are not available. So this owner, the root user can read the file. He can open the file and view the contents of the file. He can edit the file as well. Now let us look into the next 3 characters. We have R hyphen hyphen. So R hyphen hyphen. And what is this next 3 characters? They belong to a group. They belong to a group. And let's assume that this file belongs to this group called as a root now. This group called as a root. This is a group, called as a root. Now, whoever user is available inside this group, those users, you need to understand this. Whoever user is available inside this group, those users will be able to only read the file. That's it. They'll be only able to read it. They'll only be able to read it, but they can't write the file. See, we don't have the write permissions. We don't have the execute permissions. They can't execute the file as well. And finally, we have final 3 characters, which are nothing but R hyphen hyphen. These are nothing but here. They belong to others. So others are nothing but other users inside the Linux server. So all other users also will be able to read it. They will be able to read it, but they can't write it and they can't execute this particular file. This we need to understand here. So if you look into the same thing with respect to this directory 100, look at this. The first D denotes, this is nothing but a directory. This is nothing but a directory. And we have the first three here, read, write and execute. As I said again, every directory must have executable permissions X, X and X. So if we have executable permissions, then only we will be able to open this directory, go into this directory or a folder. See, look at this. We have first three characters are for the owner, and the next three characters are for the group, and final three characters are for the users. I think with the help of this particular explanation, you should be able to understand who is the owner and who is the group and who are the other users. And what are the file permissions we have? Read, write and execute. So here in the Linux server itself, we are able to see, let me open my Paint. Okay, yeah. In the Linux server, here itself, you should be able to understand what are the read, write, execute permissions for a specific file or a directory. It's not sufficient to understand here. You need to understand how can you change these file permissions now. See, look at this. For the owner, we have read, write, but the owner doesn't have execute permissions. How can you set it up, the execute permissions to this owner? How can we do it? And how can you add read and execute permissions to a group? Or how can you remove even read permissions also to these others? How can we do it? So this is very, very important concept, which I'll be covering in my next video, so that please go through the next video also, so that you will understand how to change these file permissions. Before changing the file permissions, this introduction is very important. You need to understand, let me open my Linux server. So you need to understand what all these details or long listing is all about whenever you type ls-l, and you need to understand what is this hyphen, what is this D, and why do we have so many rwx and so many characters are available here. Why do we have so many characters? So all this explanation is much more needed in order to change any Linux file permissions to a specific files or the directories. So now we understood few things. Any Linux file or a directory will definitely have a ownership of user or a group or a others. And every Linux file or a directory will have three types of permissions. One is read, write and execute permissions. And in my next video, we'll be talking about two ways of changing the Linux file permissions. One is absolute or numeric mode, and the second one is symbolic mode. That will be explained in my next video. I think that's all for this video. This is a basic and a very important introduction for the Linux file permissions. And thank you so much for listening to my video. And I would request everybody to subscribe my channel. Thank you.